So today I want to talk about, this is a very common question at the restaurant and people ask me all the time, Marcus, what is a high quality oil? What's the difference between oils, cheap oil and expensive oil? And hopefully my microphone is working today. I've had a problem in the past here with Facebook Live and my microphone. So hopefully the microphone is working. I actually have a plug-in microphone today, a corded lavalier mic into my phone. So, oil. What is the difference in oils? Most common question. One of the most common questions here at the restaurant. People know that I know a lot about food production, food politics, the ins and outs of dirty and clean food. So, when you buy oil, and you're buying this oil at home, or buying it in restaurants, and I got to tell you, when I go to buy oil, cooking oil, salad oil, some restaurants claim they use olive oil for certain things. Olive oil, it can be used, but in a restaurant setting, it's usually in a blended type if you're cooking with it. And story, Jamie's right here next to me right now, so she's not on camera, but hopefully you can hear her with the mic. I wasn't thinking about, so hopefully you can hear her with the mic. Say hi, Jamie.
Hello, everybody.
So when I go to buy oil, I have an option to buy oil in a 35-gallon pail, 35-pound pail, which is a 5-gallon unit, for 15 or 16 or 17 bucks. Those exist out there. The oil that we buy to cook with and to make salad dressing with costs about $65 to $120, depending upon what we're using it for. So it's a drastic difference in oil. I'm going to tell you the difference of that oil here. Basically, that cheap oil that most restaurant food uses, that most restaurants use and put in their fryer, that they put in their saute pans, is made with a chemical called hexane gas. And hexane gas, just how it sounds, is made from petroleum or gas or crude oil. So Jamie, I pulled up, you can go online and type in dangers of hexane gas. In fact, I was on the MSD website a little earlier, the material safety data sheets. Those are the where it tells the dangers of chemicals. If you go on the MSDS website and you look up hexane, it'll tell you that it's used for food production, specifically for oil production. It's used to extract oil out of seeds and nuts. And so when you go to a restaurant and or you go to the store and you buy like frozen French fries, those frozen French fries are already pre-fried in a warehouse, in a processing facility somewhere where they've used a cheap oil to put in those, unless you're buying organic French fries with, that you're paying 3-4 times the price for. So literally, people, the price difference is shocking on this, and most restaurants aren't willing to spend this kind of money across the board. So here we go, Jamie. Why don't you tell them what we just found another article on hexane and hexane solvents and gases, or whatever it's called. So here, why don't you talk about that?
Sure. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the dangers of hexane. Hexane is a chemical that comes from gasoline, like Marcus said. There's a lot of problems if you are exposed to hexane.
Lots of problems.
Lots of problems by ingesting it or other ways, right? Like by touching it or anything like that.
So where's hexane gas used? Does this article tell you where it's used? Because it's used in like glue.
Oh, okay, so it's mainly used in the production of glue, paint, shoes, and furniture.
And oil.
And
canola
oil,
corn oil, nut oils, safflower oil, sunflower oil. They use hexane gas across. Hexane gas is used across the board to manufacture those cheaper industrial oils. Unless you're paying 2-3 times the price, you're getting hexane gas in it. Now, somebody's going to say, well, how do I know if my oil has hexane gas in it, Marcus? Which is a common question as well. You're actually going to see on the label of that oil, of that fryer oil, that saute oil, that so-called salad oil, it'll actually say hexane gas free, because the manufacturer is going to want you to know that, hey, we've gone above and beyond and we need to justify our cost for charging 3-4 times the price. You're not going to pay 3 or 4 times the price for an oil unless you see the words expeller pressed or hexane gas free. Now, expeller pressed is the same thing as it can be the same thing as hexane gas free. Basically, when something's expeller pressed, you're basically taking it and mechanically extracting the oils out of something. So imagine olives going into a machine where they're wringing out the olives and the oil comes out. So almost like juicing. You're almost basically juicing these nuts, seeds, olives to extract the oil. The hexane gas, they throw the hexane gas on these nuts and seeds, and it automatically all of a sudden starts discharging the oil. So Jamie, keep going with the dangers of hexane gas and what it's related to. Now, keep in mind, you have 100% consumed oils in your lifetime, probably in the last day or so, that have had hexane gas in them, without a doubt, 100%. Unless, of course, you've eaten at Aroma Thyme.
So hexane has been identified by the FDA as a potent neurotoxin and a carcinogen, which I find very interesting that they're still using this to extract oils, right?
It comes down to food politics, people, on this. The food manufacturers have such a stronghold on our government, the USDA and FDA, that they're willing to basically bend corners, bend rules, and jeopardize our health and our environment based upon a profit. That's what it comes down to. It's food politics and profits before healthy planet and healthy us.
So the type of symptoms and their severity depends on the duration of exposure and the quantity of hexane a person is exposed to. So there's a lot of different symptoms that you can find, various different symptoms, from skin irritation to dry skin, pain in skin, irritation, pain and redness in eyes, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, drowsiness, dizziness, dullness, weakness, headache, upper airway respiratory problems, breathing difficulty, muscle cramps, muscle wasting, and symptoms of neurological problems.
So the symptoms that Jamie just read from hexane gas is shocking. How many people have dry, itchy skin? How many people have abdominal pain? How many people have these kind of symptoms? You go to your doctor, and not once have they ever said to you, well, what kind of oil are you using? Are you using organic oil? Are you using hexane gas-free oil? What kind of glue are you painting a lot? I don't think these conversations really ever come up with people that have severe conditions or any kind of conditions like this. And so many people have dry, itchy skin. And how many people eat French fries or eat fried foods or oil, just plain old oil, every single day that I'm not saying that this is a contributing factor. I think when you look at health, you have to look at everything. There's always a cause and effect, and it's hard to say that there's one simple thing to say, oh, eliminate this or add this to your diet and you're going to be super healthy. It's a combination of doing as much as you can right in your life, and I feel that avoiding hexane extracted oils is one of the most important things out there when it comes to food. I mean, this is a nasty, nasty chemical that they're using in our food supply that restaurants are being forced to buy because it's a quarter of the price. I mean, it's amazing. I just got another ad yesterday, $17 for 35-pound, 5-gallon of oil. And I'm sitting here paying $60 to $120. And we go through a fair amount of oil. We don't have a fryer here at the restaurant, but we do pan fry things like our chicken wings go into a pan fryer, and so we put oil into a pot and fry it. But we do a lot of cooking. We make a lot of salad dressings ourselves. So when you go to a buffet line at a fast food restaurant and you're getting the salad dressing, 100% guaranteed you're getting an oil that was extracted with this neurological damaging hexane gas. It's in our food supply, people. There's just no way around this.
Hexane has been listed as one of the 188 hazardous, dangerous air pollutants by the EPA, which can cause cancer and other serious health illnesses, including reproductive and birth defects.
So they're saying the hexane gas
can cause.
Hexane gas is what they're actually using to extract this oil, because you can have hexane as a liquid as well, but I believe the hexane gas. I'm not an expert on oil production. I have not been into the facilities to see this. This isn't something that they want to show you that they're doing. A lot of our food industry is really hidden from our eyes, and it has been hidden now. Thank goodness for iPhones and for phones in general with cameras. People sneak in and do undercover operations, and always slaughterhouses and stuff like that. But you never see them going inside like an oil refinery, how they process oil, or a sugar refinery. What goes into the sugar production is shocking. Sugar, we all know white sugar is not good for us, but for the environment is a whole different issue. The chemicals that go into that, the bleaching agents, the crude that comes out of it, sugarcane production or sugar production is just as bad for you as the sugar itself. Bad for the environment, I should say. But back to hexane and oil.
So, according to this article and probably many other articles out there, there are a lot of different effects that hexane oil can cause in a person, from dizziness, nausea, acute effects, to chronic effects, muscular weakness, things like that, to reproductive, and then cancer causing. So, according to this article and according to the research that you've done, there are a lot of major problems with hexane gas.
So hexane gas was something that I became aware of probably in my cooking career, probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was just in the search of providing clean food. My TED Talk that I did a couple years ago, I started out at the beginning of the TED Talk, was I said I was killing every single one of you in this room, and I was killing myself at the same time. And I was actually killing people. The food supply system is so in shambles, and it's all designed, like I said earlier in this, it's all designed to turn a corporate profit. They don't care about us. They don't care about the environment. All they care about is their profits, 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 and they're willing to douse our food with hexane gas and other nasty chemicals that you think, oh, people think, oh, because I'm going to buy food in a store, it's safe, and I'm going to buy this and it's safe and this and that. That is so far from the truth. So far from the truth. So as a chef who's very, very was very interested in my health and your health as well, you know, I mean, I wish it would come to a point where, you know, a lot of this healthier food was much, much more affordable. And sometimes some of it is you buy local. Like right now we're getting fantastic local kale, and it's end of December. And the kale is so inexpensive right now, and we're still getting fantastic local kale. We got local leeks this week. We got all these local squashes this week. Believe it or not, I even get local sunflower oil. There are some sunflower oil producers here in this part of the country, in New York. But again, for a 5-gallon pail or a 35-pound thing of sunflower oil, I'm paying $105 to $120 for a high-quality organic sunflower, expeller-pressed sunflower oil, which we use in some of our salad dressings, or a high oleic safflower oil, which was going to cost the same price as well. So, you know, the average person, it's New Year's time coming, people want to eat healthier. My overall suggestion to eating healthier is try to eliminate as much oil as you possibly can. If you are going to use olive oil, if you are going to use oil, use extra virgin olive oil. Don't fry anything. Try not to put oil into a pan. You don't want to cook with extra virgin olive oil. You don't want to buy olive oil blends, because a lot of these olive oil blends are olive oil with cheap hexane gas, GMO. We haven't even talked about GMOs, people, because a lot of our oils, the corn, the cotton, and the canola, the rapeseed, are all genetically modified, and that's a whole nother ball game right there. Besides, I'm just only talking about the hexane gas that's in our oils, not the genetically modified foods, which is a whole nother different safety issue, environmental issue, health issue. So avoid oil, you know, if you really can. You know, salad dressings, I like to use aged balsamics for my salad dressings. And balsamic is a whole other topic, because I'm really involved in balsamics, and I'm really fascinated by the aging process of balsamics and the different cooking methods of balsamic, and how much grape juice they actually add back in, and how they reduce the grape juice, and the caramelization effects of them cooking, slow cooking or fast cooking. So balsamic is a really great world to really experiment with. And you must, when you look for a balsamic, make sure you look for that balsamic logo on it. Make sure it's real balsamic, because there's balsamic vinegars out there that are produced in Peru, believe it or not, and other parts of the world that aren't true balsamic vinegars. And there's something called Vincoto, which is a vinegar elixir, which is dynamite. And I use some of those things on my salads just by themselves. I like to use citrus juice on my salads, like grapefruit juice or a little fresh squeezed orange juice. So you can actually cut up an orange or a grapefruit, supreme it, which us chefs call it supreming it, where we take the segments out, and you're left with the inside. And you just squeeze that, and that juice goes right into your salad. It mixes great with tomatoes, cucumbers, sprouts, crunchy romaine, and all that kind of stuff. It makes beautiful salads. So try to avoid as much oil as possible. Try to buy organic. Try to buy extra virgin olive oil is the bottom line. The more you pay for oil, the better off you are, because olive oil is a whole nother thing about how oil is adulterated and really counterfeit. A lot of counterfeit olive oil on the market. If you're going to Sam's Club or ShopRite or any of these stores and buying a gallon of olive oil, a 3-liter of olive oil, it's very, very, very questionable, the quality of what's actually in there. Even though it says extra virgin, and even though it might be $20, it's really not the real deal when it comes to olive oil. Jamie and I were on an olive oil. We went to Italy last year, a year ago. Took our family there, went to wineries and went to olive oil facilities. And I got to tell you, it costs, for a small bottle of olive oil, you know, the small liter bottles, half-liter bottles, it costs like €5 for them, their cost to put that olive oil into the bottle. By the time you ship it over here, it goes through a distributor, it goes to the store, and gets marked up all these times, you're looking at in the store a $25 small bottle of olive oil. And most people would never, ever pay $25 for an extra virgin small bottle of olive oil. Well, I'm telling you, you have to pay $25. Pay the $25 for that olive oil. Use it less, use it wisely. Don't cook with the olive oil. If you need an oil to cook with, I suggest coconut oil is really good to cook with. If you use butter, butter's fine to cook with. Maybe like a high oleic safflower or sunflower. These sunflower oils get really good high heat resistance. A general rule, if you're cooking with oil, if the oil smokes, if you get to the smoke point and the pan starts smoking, discard that oil immediately. Do not use that oil. That is 100% detrimental to your health. You never want to reach a smoke point on oil. In fact, the more you heat an oil, in even 200 degrees, 300 degrees, 350, the more you heat an oil, the more detrimental it is anyway. Oils really work well for heating, for the cooking application, as far as searing something, making something crispy, making a French fry. But when you look at the makeup of the oil and what's happening on a molecular level, that oil, it's just not it's not a safe food to consume. Oil is best consumed actually in the nut itself. That's why when you buy an almond or a walnut, the oil that's encapsulated in there, in whole wheat flour, the oil, the vitamin E that's encapsulated into that whole food is actually the healthiest and safest to eat. Once you start extracting oil, you know, it's exposed to air, you're removing it from its whole food. It's a whole different game at that point. And the reason why you buy a lot of oils in the grocery store that are actually rancid to begin with, and especially when you buy a trans fat, something that's hydrogenated, those are automatically rancid. But you can't smell the rancidity in the oil because the oil has no protein. And the protein is where you're going to start smelling those off odors and flavors. Now, imagine if you're in the restaurant world and you've been frying chicken wings in a fryer for a couple of days. You're going to start smelling that oil, and that oil is going to be like, oh man, that's disgusting. That's a nasty smell. Or maybe you got French fries that were fried in that same oil, and you're like, these French fries are off. That's because that oil has been subjected to 325, 350 degrees over and over and over again all day long. Because what happens in a commercial fryer in a restaurant, people, is the chefs walk in first thing in the morning at 10:30, 11 o'clock. They crank on that fryer, and it brings it up to a temperature. It's on a thermostat. So as soon as that temperature drops down, the fryer kicks it on again. So all day long for 12 hours during service, that fryer is constantly held at 325, 350 degrees. Things drop into it. The temperature drops to 275. And all of a sudden it kicks up again because you drop frozen French fries into a hot oil. The temperature does drop. And you drop chicken wings into there. And all these things build up in that oil. And after 2 days of frying food in these fryers, you'll smell the rancidity. You're like, oh, that oil is bad. Well, wrong. That oil was bad when it actually arrived at the restaurant door. That oil was pressed, or in this case, hexane gas dissolved, extracted 6 months earlier. It sat in a warehouse. If it was a summertime, it could have been on a truck that was 100 degrees. It could have been on a pallet that was sitting out on a loading dock and just sitting in the sun, baking, and then going back and forth and being exposed to air when it was done. And so, but you have to honestly believe me, that stuff was rancid when it actually hit the door of the restaurant. Consuming rancid oil, consuming oil that is genetically modified, consuming oil that has hexane solvents in it is detrimental to your health. So I will repost this video. I think it's super important, especially now since people are at that New Year's point and they want to eat healthier. Cut as much of the oil out as possible. Totally cut as much out as possible and buy the expensive olive oil, buy the expensive coconut oil, buy this. I like sunflower oil if you're going to cook. Sunflower oil is really good to cook with. And a lot of regions across the U.S. do produce sunflower oil, so you can actually buy a local sunflower oil to you. Jamie, anything else about oils? And hexane gas, that was pretty shocking.
That was really shocking.
So go up, look up dangers of hexane gas. Look in the MSDS material safety data sheets on what it is on hexane gas, and really question people, why is hexane gas in our food? Why is hexane gas in oil? And the bottom line is money, money, money. It all comes down to corporate profits. I hope the audio was much better in this one. Like I said, I have a separate lavalier mic that's plugged into my iPhone. Because a couple of these live videos I've done before have not had good audio, and it goes in and out, or it actually hesitates to come in. I'm not sure why that is. So hopefully you're able to get all of this with this microphone. And that's it. Happy New Year, everybody. Eat well, be healthy 2017. Healthy and prosperous 2017.